And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Star Wars Through the Ages, the positive podcast that takes you through the beginnings, middles, and later stages of Star Wars. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Star Wars Through the... Sorry for the echo. I got that fixed now. Anyway, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Here in Roswell, it is an interesting day. Yet another snow day. We don't get those very often. If they do, it's normally just a light dusting. So far today, we have, I think 3 to 5 inches with another 3 to 5 expected overnight. So, hey, who knows? Maybe tomorrow is another day off of work. And we'll see what happens, you know. Hopefully everybody's weather is better where they are. And we just do a little bit of yes. All right. There we go. All right. Just trying to get everything set up here. I apologize for the delay. It was pretty interesting getting home with everyone not used to driving in the snow, and where it's normally 50 miles an hour is down to 30, if that. People sliding all over the place. People just trying to get home, so they're darting out in front of traffic and causing even more pandemonium. And if you're not used to snow where you are and you occasionally get it, you know what I'm talking about. If you are used to snow where you are, there's still people that do that anyway, and you just shake your head and wonder what in the world are they thinking. So, but yeah, interesting day, interesting time of the year as winter starts to wind down. I was trying to do a little bit of research in our topics that I picked for today. Of course, didn't get a whole lot done. Internet has been a little crazy over the last few days with the weather coming in. It's it's not hardwired in, so it has to do with satellites. On the positive note, hey, the gas line has been put in here at the house. We just need a couple more parts, about 2 more hours worth of work, and we'll get that up and running. Call the inspector, and hopefully we'll have heat in the house within the week. So that's always good news. See, we have Mr. Rez in the chat. Hello, Mr. Rez. Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate the support there. So normally I have all sorts of slides and banners and things like that. I do have a couple here, but we're just kind of winging it, especially since I had such a delay. Going today, we also have my kids have school projects that are due, I guess tomorrow or the next day, depending on whether or not they have school. And they let us know today, oh, by the way, we have projects that are due. I need to go to Office Max and print all this out, and then I need to get this poster board and these letterings and this color duct tape to go on my poster. Last minute, and now they're throwing all sorts of attitude about oh, I can't get this done. Well, you should have started sooner. You knew about this for 2 weeks, but that's all right. It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye. I say that, and I actually have an interesting story as I'm getting this set up here. Back in the late 80s, Empire had come out. Jedi had already come out, and me and a friend of mine were diehard Star Wars fans already. We were very, very young, but we still would get together. We'd play with our Star Wars figures and our play sets. And in the back of his house, he had a tree. It was almost like a shrub, but it had about a 2-inch diameter branches, and they were everywhere. And so we got the saw and cut those out about lightsaber length. And we were playing Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. And we were just clanging these sticks together and just doing lots of battle scenes, and just having a great time laughing. And it was things that we typically did as young Star Wars fans. And that we didn't have the lightsabers, the Force FX ones weren't out yet. Anything that you could really play with, if you smashed them together, the fiberglass would break, and there would be or the lights would not work anymore, the sound wouldn't work. You couldn't smash them together very well. So we used sticks because that was the most realistic thing that we could get. About halfway through the battle that we had planned and staged, we just heaved the lightsabers together, and there, of course, we were making the sounds. There was a resounding crack, and my friend stopped, and the tip of his lightsaber had cracked against mine, and it had fallen off, and it hit him in the eye. So, of course, we stopped, and then there was a piece of the branch that got lodged into his eye. And, of course, I felt bad because we were playing, and had to run to the emergency room, and he actually lost sight in his eye. But, it was all fun and games up until he actually lost an eye. And, mom was not happy that we had done that. His mom would not let us play together anymore because, she always thought, he'll better lose the next lot. He'll lose the other eye if we continue to play. But we always snuck around, and we didn't do the lightsaber battles anymore, but we still got to play with our figures. But yeah, true story. Lightsaber fun. Absolutely. I'm sure you guys could probably relate to that a little bit. Charles Westcott, thanks for joining in. All right. So our show today, we have, actually, let me throw this up in case somebody wants to jump on. Copied, and then let's see. All right, there is the invite for the chat. In case somebody wants to jump on here, we should have, an interesting discussion. We are going to be talking about Star Wars and its place in movie history, not necessarily history of the iconic films, but as far as where it stands as far as movies and awards. Now, before I continue with that thought, I do have to give credit to Pete Fletzer of Around the Galaxy podcast. He had the idea and had and posted about that Star Wars really hasn't won a major award since 1981, but they've been nominated a few times here and there. But as far as acting, directing, best movie, they really haven't even had a lot of nominations up to that point. So I asked him for permission to use that subject. I thought it'd be a really cool thing to talk about and discuss about whether or not it's even important for Star Wars to garner such recognition. We have such a large fan base as it is. Is it even necessary for Star Wars as a franchise to get recognized by the Academy or the Golden Globes now, or whichever your favorite award show is? What do you guys think in the chat? Is it important to be recognized for, say, Best Picture or for Best Actor? I don't think that it is myself. I really think that Star Wars stands alone, with its with its stature. It's already a recognized film franchise. As Charles said, exposure is good, but a lot of our favorite movies haven't won awards, much less are nominated for the awards. I don't think that it's necessarily that important to be recognized for that. We have what was trying to think of the last one. Was Avengers nominated for a Best Picture? I don't think so. Maybe Ensemble Cast on a Golden Globe. I believe that was the last one that they were nominated for. But they had so many different, movie characters that were in there that had their own standalone films brought in. So that could be a true ensemble cast. And it's. We had Rise of Skywalker. Yes, JJ did. I thought a serviceable job with that. It didn't revolutionize or change or do something extraordinary. In fact, I think the last one that I could think of. Well, franchise films. Let's think about franchise films. We have the Avengers. We have Star Wars. We have let's see, the DC universe. You have the Supermans, the Wonder Womans. They had all the mashups that they had there. Flash is about to get his. Aquaman, Batman has had several different films. So I think the franchise film has really been overlooked because there's so many of them. Charles has another good one. Terminator was another one. He even said that so many franchises in the U.S. don't get awards. That is so true. And is it because that they're not new, they're not inventive, they don't make a big splash? I mean, not really, because everything, at least in Star Wars, is new. They go to different planets. They have different characters. They try to flush it out. The ideology, I believe is the word, is the same, but we don't. It's something it's a Star Wars film. What makes Star Wars Star Wars? It's not something that rivets you to your seat. The only two exceptions that I could think of were this year and in The Dark Knight, where you had a franchise film such as Batman garner such awards, such as Joker. So when Heath Ledger portrayed his Joker, I'm not sure if they gave it to him because he had died right after that film. Granted, it was an amazing portrayal of that character. I thought he took it leaps and bounds beyond what I could have even imagined. Nicholson Joker to me was an amazing Joker, but the Ledger Joker just went in such a bold direction that there's even argument that his Joker was the true hero of that story. Not Batman, but Joker. And then this year's Joker portrayal by Joaquin Phoenix took the Joker personality in such a different direction. Yes, this year's Joker was very similar to another movie that had been done in the past. but his portrayal of it, whether or not it was real, spoilers if people haven't seen the Joker yet, I'll talk a little bit about it. There's a lot of discussion whether or not what happened in the Joker was real, or whether or not it was actually in his head due to his psychosis and his his disorders that he has. It could have actually happened, or there are certain clues that maybe it didn't, and it was just in his mind. But it was such a different twist and take on that character that was performed so well. It did deserve awards. Now, yeah, Star Wars does get awards. They do get nominated for awards such as music, the film score with John Williams, which he's second to none, and he deserves all the awards every year. I think they should just give him an award. Just because he's John Williams. But we talked about that last time, about John Williams and how amazing that he is. Excuse my drink here. Cinematography was one. The VFX shots that they do with ILM are absolutely incredible. The characters that they create, whether they go from puppet to VFX to back to puppet to live action, it's seamless, and they do such a great job with it. I'm trying to think what the last one. I had it up on my screen, but for some reason my Safari browser decided that it was going to crash out on me. But that's those are the type of awards that Star Wars and franchise films normally get. Marvel has gotten a lot of those for visual effects and whatnot. But when it tells a great story, such as the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy, each one had its own merits and was just like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or that was such a great twist on it, but it seems to not garner that the same reception that it would for another film. And I thought it was interesting that this year that Parasite won for they won for just about everything that they did. I think they won the director, the best picture as well, and a couple of other awards. I could be wrong. You guys in the chat correct me if I am wrong there. But especially for a foreign-made film, that was it's far and few between that even foreign films get the recognition that they deserve. But for Star Wars, I mean, I still don't think that it is necessary. We have such a rabid, dedicated fan base, even if we don't agree, that we're going to go see the movie. And I'm not, it's just ticket sales alone for the, for this. Let me see if I can look this up real quick. Again, I apologize. I had all this up, but my Safari browser crashed, and now I have to look it up again. So, all right, let's see. There it is. All right. So Star Wars actually holds a record, a Guinness Book of World Records record. And the stock that they put into those, and the research and dedication that they do, for those to verify whether or not those records are true. It says that the franchise holds a Guinness Book of World Records for the most successful film, and this is in 2018. The total value for the Star Wars franchise was an estimated 65 billion with a B dollars. That 65 billion dollars. Now, I believe that includes everything as far as merchandising. That includes all the marketing, all the toys, everything that they have to their credit. For just the movies, and this is up to date, and this is through the numbers, which is does a lot of the box office tabulations website. We have just movies alone 10,310,355,695 to date. $10 billion that the Star Wars franchise has made just in the theaters. That's worldwide. That's not domestic. That's worldwide box office. And I agree. Charles, will award add money? Probably not. That's a great thought right there. Just because it wins an award doesn't mean that it's going to win extra money. Parasite, it won a lot of awards. Will that mean that a lot of people are going to watch it? Probably not, especially here in the United States. And, I'm just, this might be rude or condescending, but I think it's factual that here in the United States, if a movie is subtitled, which it'll either be dubbed or subtitled for the United States, it's not going to go over as well here as it does in the countries that speak that language normally. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different media when you have to almost pause what you're doing and try to focus on the words on the bottom part of the screen versus what's just being spoken to you on there. It makes it a little more difficult to do that. I don't normally have a problem with it, but a lot of people do. A lot of people, they want to go to a movie to be entertained. They don't have to want to go to a movie to have to read along with what's being said. My wife agrees with me that she doesn't want to go to a movie to read. She'd rather just sit there and watch the screen. And yes, Charles, for a movie franchise that is dead, to make $10 billion in the movies is absolutely insane. I just wanted to take another quick look at that just to see how it's broken down. Now, this is these are modern numbers. This takes in account for inflation and things like that. All right, so the production budget for Star Wars A New Hope, $11 million. Worldwide so far to date, $775 million. Empire Strikes Back, production cost, $23 million. It made $547 million. Return of the Jedi. Production cost $32.5 million. It made $475 million in the theaters. Phantom Menace, $115 million. They made over $1 billion in the theaters. Attack of the Clones, $115 million budget, $656 million they've made in the theaters. Revenge of the Sith, $115 million. They made $848 million. So much for a dead franchise, right? Clone Wars, $8.5 million. It made $68 million. That's the Clone Wars animated movie that they've done. The Force Awakens, $306 million budget. They made $2 billion. $2 billion. Rogue One, Star Wars story, $200 million. They made $1 billion. The Last Jedi, $200 million. They made $1.3 billion. Solo, a Star Wars story, $275 million. But that movie was a flop. It was not commercially, it was not well received. Such a horrible movie, but yet with all of its production cost and redos and changing of directors and probably changing of the script and everything, still made $393 million. It made over $100 million more than it cost to make the movie. So much for a flop. Rise of Skywalker, $275 million production budget, $1 billion. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies alone made over $1 billion. One of those made it $2 billion. And Revenge of the Sith was very close at $848 million. You know, yeah, let's buy that. You know, if we can come up with $4 billion, you know, to come up with it, and you know, and then to have it make. Let's see, since they've made it, Clone Wars was a Disney purchase, I believe. Yeah, I believe that that was. Or what? Oh no! See, now I'm not sure. It might not have been. Might not have been. So we'll leave that one out for now. So since Disney bought it, $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion, $5 billion. Plus, if you add in all the extra millions, you probably have close to another $1 billion. So $6 billion, not including the Clone Wars, which made 68 million, almost 69 million, if that's included, for just movies. So they've already made their money back on the $4 billion purchase that they made from George Lucas. I'd say that's pretty good money. Now, then you take on top of that, you have Galaxy's Edge, which started up in 2 parks. You have all the merchandising and toy sales. You have the Disney Plus aspect of it. You have the Mandalorian that goes in there. Think of all the money that they're going to make, that they're making and going to make off of Baby Yoda. What a deal. $4 billion. Who would have thought, yeah, you know what, I'll buy that for $4 billion, and you know, it will raise you some. Oh, it started with Rebels and Awakens. I knew there was an animated one that they had started it with, because I believe Rebels came out before The Force Awakens. I believe, if not, it was planned before, and so I knew it was an animated one that was in there. I just wasn't sure if it was the Clone Wars movie or if it was the other one. All right, awesome. Thanks, Charles, for setting me straight. Keep me on that straight and narrow. But I mean, how incredible is, I mean, it's almost, I mean, it's numbers that's hard for me to comprehend. I mean, I don't make a whole lot of money doing what I do for work. And then, with everything else that goes on and bills, and, gets sucked out faster than it comes in a lot of the times. And yet they have all this money making material, and they're not done yet. They still have season 2 of The Mandalorian, the Cassian Andor series, Kenobi, more movies to make. Season 7 of Clone Wars. It's going to go on and on. It's just absolutely amazing what they have done, and yet it's such a dead franchise. Absolutely incredible, the business savvy that Disney has. All right. Can you guys think of anything else for awards that you might want to discuss? We'll take a quick break here and grab a drink. I'm pretty sure we've already discussed, and it's been discussed many times on many different podcasts about a lot of the different things that we want to see coming up as well. But my next topic that I have, and I see another comment coming. There it is. Sorry, I saw it on the YouTube first. I kind of keep up with it there a little bit as well. That way I can get to your comments a little faster than what it loads into StreamYard. It's I know. I thought it was absolutely bonkers when it came out, and when Disney announced that they're going to buy it from Lucas for $4 billion. I'm like, that's just insane. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Michael. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed your show. But yeah, it's the crazy amount of money that was spent on it. And George Lucas, I'm sure, hasn't even touched that $4 billion. He already had a ton of money to begin with, and they just gave him $4 billion. Man, I wish somebody would give me $4, much less $4 billion. Man, I don't know. But awesome. 2Med2 went and saw a show today. He's just getting out of that, and he says it was amazing. That's great. And our next topic is something that Michael probably would enjoy as well. Next topic that I was trying to think of what we could talk about and really interests me in there is Star Wars video gaming, or how Star Wars relates to the modern video gamer. And with that, and how, or actually, trying to think of the best way I wanted to say this. It's crazy now that you see all of the people that broadcast gameplay on YouTube or on Twitch or another streaming service. I don't know if you guys in the chat watch too much of it. I know Mr. Rez supports us when we're doing it, but it's becoming quite the phenomenon. Back in when I started video games, and I started way back on Commodore 64. So that is a long time ago. Went from Commodore 64 to the Atari 2600. And if we wanted to watch gameplay, we went over to our friend's house and watched them play the game. And we waited for them to die. And then we grabbed the controller and we had next. Or we went to the arcade and we'd line up quarters and on the screen, and for whoever had next, waiting for the person to die, and we'd watch catch their strategy and see how far that they would get, and as we tried to play it. Nowadays, it's a whole different animal. Now, I do play games still. I'm 44, almost 45 years old. I will be a gamer till I die. I live and breathe video games. Most of my professional career, I've spent doing retail video games, whether it was Electronics Boutique that then switched over to EB Games and then GameStop, and then GameStop took over after they bought everybody out. But I worked my way up from a seasonal Christmas help all the way up to a store manager. And I was a store manager for GameStop for many years. One of the perks that they used to have, I'm not sure if they still do, as far as being a store manager, is you get free systems and you get free games. Back in the day, or I guess the last systems that I had gotten 2 Switches, quite a few Xbox One X. I guess the last one I got was an Xbox One X, Xbox One S, then the original Xbox One, PlayStation 3s, PlayStation 4s. And normally you would get about 60 free games a year, because in order to sell, you had to be able to tell people what the games were about, and kind of, a synopsis of the game and how the action is, whether or not the game was good, whether or not it sucked. What is it worth the $60 that it costs to do it? So now video gaming is taking a turn. One, it's going from physical copy of games to digital downloads. Everything seems to have DLC with it now. Extra packages. You can buy the standard, the deluxe, or the Uber package, which has a lot of the behind the scenes and extra unreleased content that you can only get when you spend that extra money. And now a lot of people are finding the trend of taking or broadcasting their gameplay. Now, I don't know if it's because people just they're not into gaming and they don't have the time to play themselves, so they would rather watch somebody play the game while they're doing something else. It frees up their hands and their mind to do something else, and they can watch somebody play the game. Or if they're trying to get tips and tricks so they can further their own campaign a little bit better. I enjoy doing it because of the live discussions that you have with fellow gamers while it's going on. You could do I was just on a stream the other day with Ant Shot First. Big shout out for him for including a rookie like me on the Star Wars Battlefront 2 multiplayer. I don't play that very often. When I got the game, I got it just so I could review the game, tell a little bit about it for my customers, and I did play through the campaign, which is one of my favorite options. So I kind of let the multiplayer slide, and he's like 100 plus level, and I'm level 8, and he drugged me around the map for about 35 35 to 40 minutes the other day, and really had a great time. But the way I got introduced to him is by watching him stream his channel. So if you're not following Ant Shot First on YouTube, do that real quick. I'll still be here. Awesome guy. A lot of fun gameplay that he has. Has like every Star Wars game that's on the PlayStation 4, and he streams them all. So it's a lot of fun. So follow him, definitely. But yeah, it's so I don't know. What do you guys in the chat? Do you what is your main motivation for watching people stream their games? Is it just for the live chat? Is it for tips and tricks? You're curious about the game and you want to check it out before you buy it? What do you guys think? As I said, I really like the community aspect of it and the live chat portion of it. Yeah, in fact, that's what it is, Charles. It is a great community. It's a little different than the normal podcast where we just ramble on about topics. But there's actually a mission that's involved. It's more streamlined, and yeah, it's yeah, Mr. Rez, Star Wars live chat. That seems to be where it's at. We also get Anthony, or Rural Farm Boy. He gets our live chat crew going. Anytime someone's streaming, anytime that there's a live chat somewhere, and he's available, we all try to jump on and show our support for our friends, whether we know them or not. You know, if they're Star Wars fans, they're friends, and we always try to support those. And that's how I got started, and by doing listening to podcasts and jumping in live chats and supporting, and everyone encouraged me to start my own. So here I am. Charles, again, yeah, live chat. It's fun to have fun in the background while I work. More fun Star Wars people. Absolutely. We can never have too many Star Wars fans that are out there trying to spread that positivity, you know, in the group. And I agree. It is also a lot of fun to have in the background. Oftentimes, I'll be at work doing some drawings, and I'll see the tweet come through, you know, hey, live chat, you know, we got this, you know, streaming gameplay, and I'll listen to it while I'm doing my drawings. And occasionally, if, you know, it sounds really, you know, like it's getting really intense, I'll look down for a minute or two, or take a break for 5 minutes on my drawing, and watch a few minutes of gameplay, and you know, text back in the live chat a little bit. It really is a great community. But yeah, it's an evolution. Everything evolves a little bit. Whether, I mean, look at Star Wars, how it started off with its visual effects and where they are now, which I'll give another plug. Here I'm working on a VFX episode of Star Wars Through the Ages. And I'm going to try to have, if I can, I need to come up with a lot of good questions. I'm going to try to have Yoshi from Industrial Light and Magic on, and hopefully he can answer some questions that we might have. It's, you know, but the evolution of gaming has gone from, you know, 8-bit graphics all the way up into full 3D rendering, and it's just something you can watch. Like Rural Farm Boy was watching. I was doing the campaign for Battlefront 2, and I don't know how many times he was just like, "Wow, I just love this story." The cutscenes are cinematic now. It just adds another depth and another layer to our fandom. Not only that, also comes up to my next point about gaming and Star Wars, and how it flows into the canon of our universe. How amazing it is that we get to play a game that necessarily, in the past hasn't connected with anything. It's just a fun game to play, such as like Bounty Hunter. Had no bearing to the canon. But, now you're playing games such as, Battlefront 2 that had its campaign that focused heavily in and around canon, and even set some of the precedent for The Last Jedi. Spoiler alert, in case you haven't played it or seen The Last Jedi, although I think the spoiler alert for that is done past. But there's a scene in Battlefront 2 where you go to, and I'll probably massacre the name because I always do, Pilar, where the Emperor's Vault is. And you play as a character named Del, where there's a character named Del that's there. And then Luke Skywalker is there. And you guys work together to go in to to finish this map. And at the end, there's a cutscene where Del talks about, I'm here to destroy this vault and all these treasures that's in there. And Luke reaches over, lifts up a crate, and pulls out the compass, or a compass. And he's like, well, I want to keep this. And he, the Del characters, doesn't care, like whatever. And it's the compass that you see in The Last Jedi. So the way that it connects is pretty incredible. Oh yes, here's another shout out from Charles. Apprentice Ewok, absolutely a must follow. If you guys, when you watch this, if you haven't followed Apprentice Ewok yet, please go do so. It's definitely worth it. Amazing content provider right there. And then Fallen Order 2, 2 hours of cutscenes, and they're canon. How amazing is that? I know a lot of people, will argue, well, I don't want to, rely on video games or, let's see, what's the one I heard today? Video games or visual dictionaries to flush out a movie. Okay. You don't necessarily have to. But for Star Wars nuts like us, that just have to have more Star Wars and have a deeper explanation of what it is and why what's going on here. It's amazing content to have. And I mean, not everyone's thing is reading. Not everybody wants to go buy a thick visual dictionary that is the size of a computer monitor and do a page turn and and get all and garner all the information that's in there. Some of us do. I mean, I love it. I think that the graphics that are in there are amazing. The content that they have in there and the backstory is phenomenal. But a lot of people, might not, want to read that, but they'd rather play a video game. And so they have that portion of the canon that they could do as well. And to be able to have that content available for Star Wars fans when they want it. Thanks, Charles, for stopping by. He has to go. I do appreciate it. I'm almost done. A couple more minutes, and I'm going to wrap up myself. But I appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, it's as I said, it's just a different source of content. To me, it doesn't matter where I get my Star Wars content from, whether it is from comics or movies or Disney Plus, animated, or Disney Plus live action shows, whether it's streaming podcasts, or whether we playing through video games. It's Star Wars content, and to me, all Star Wars content is really good. It gets you thinking about, ooh, what if, or oh, the possibilities here, or this makes a great story, even if it might not be canon, which is why I really enjoy the extended universe stuff. I also don't mind a lot of people this last week to 2 weeks that have been going on and on Twitter about the Trevorrow script that came out, where I guess it was the full script. I haven't read it yet, but hey, I'll give it a listen to. It's not going to make me say, "Oh man, I can't believe it. This is the movie that we should have gotten," and all that. It's a story. It's just an extended universe story that goes filed away as it's not canon. It's not going to get made, and that's fine. But it's a legend. It can have, I can compartmentalize, forgive my English there, the sections of Star Wars where these are just stories, these are just legends, this is canon, this is comics, this is live action. My mind just seems to work that way. And a lot of people don't like that, and that's fine. They don't have to. They can pick which parts of the Star Wars canon that they really want, and they can enjoy it. So I'm very excited anytime that we get something new or something related to Star Wars, whether it's a new collectible, a new Funko Pop, which I'm still hoping we get that Gecko Pop here in the near future for Dominic Pace. That would be absolutely amazing. There's just a lot of things that I really, wherever I can get this universe in whatever form that it takes, I just want to be a part of it, whether it's talking on my podcast or talking on Twitter or getting someone else's view. It's all amazing. And that reminds me, I need one thing. I'll be right back. I knew I said it over here. I promised Ro from Scarif Podcast that I would do this. I don't know if it's going to fit around my head. Oh, wait. This is for Ro. He said, tilt it to the left and wear the medallion. So, Ro, there you go. So for when you watch this, I do appreciate it. I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff. This is the cool stuff that you get when you start following people. I have Star Wars medal. I have my handy dandy double-sided. There's the true side right there. Medallion. Collectible cards. All could be yours for following the Scarif Podcast. Deploy that garrison. But no, it's really cool to see how everyone treats each other in our Star Wars community. one of the things that that just happened today on Twitter is I reached my 300 follower plateau, which I thought was pretty cool. We don't. I didn't start this to see how many followers that I could get. I could probably, if I wanted to, just go on and on and on about different topics and do a lot of clickbait stuff to try to get followers. But that's not what it was about for me. For me, it was about positivity and about joining others that were online talking about Star Wars and having a good time doing it, not bashing each other, not hating on anything. Just enjoying each other's company and each other's views, even if they are different, on this universe that we love. I've made so many good friends on there and listened to so many different podcasts now. It's absolutely incredible. You guys in the live chat, Mr. Rez, Charles, we've had a lot of different discussions, done a lot of different drawings. It's great that we have each other's back. Anytime that I have something go on, such as the other a couple weeks ago when the gas line had a hole in it, the outpouring of support that everyone gives is absolutely amazing. And I just want it to continue. And so I'll continue to do this and blabber on for about an hour or so every week and talk about new topics and anything that you guys want to. Anything you want to see on the channel that's coming up, just drop me a line. Star Wars Through the Ages at Charlie Skywalker on Twitter. At D Blake Jr. 7 is the actual handle. You can reach me there. Let me know what you want to see. We'll still do some campaign on some Battlefront 2. I will get Fallen Order here hopefully soon, and I can stream that as well. I have a bunch of other games. If you guys are interested and just want to hang out, I could always stream another type of game as we await news that's coming up. Here in the next couple of weeks, we are expecting a announcement from Project Luminous. I believe that's the 24th of February that we're expecting at, so that should be good. I'm still working on my VFX episode that I'd like to do. And then, of course, if anybody ever wants to jump on, I always provide the link and everyone can jump on. But that's all I have for this week. I hope you guys have a great one. I appreciate you stopping by. May the Force be with you, and we will see you next week.